Okay, so I want to give a quick response here, and this is to Be Serious, her most recent video on science and religion. And I appreciate the video, and I really do. I thought that it was nice, and I found your comments on spirituality and how spirituality has perhaps been maligned, and that's really unfortunate. And there is a very different notion of spirituality. I think an ancient one that goes back to the notion of breath and articulated breath. And that's what one meant by spirit. It's basically the articulated word, or in the Stoic tradition, something like the logos. I think from my own perspective, as much as I do appreciate the video that you gave there, Karen, I end up feeling just misunderstood. I really do. I think my focus on language and on issues like information and the way that so many people have skirted around. I mean, I've raised this question in a I don't know how many videos I've brought up Irving Goffman. He has said, of all of the things of this world, information is the hardest to guard because it can be stolen without removing it. And I've tried to get people to address that. I've shot so many videos on non-being and on nothing, and I've either had people mock it or make fun of it or in some way just dismiss it. And for all that I've seen people who take themselves very seriously as scientists, I've seen very little of people who have tried to address the difference between physical closed systems where you do have entropy and the second law of thermodynamics, and open living systems where information is basically negentropic. I have tried to suggest in many videos, all too many videos, that there seems to be a kind of cosmic dance of internal negation, of a kind of ongoing negentropic flow of thought and what we mean by time. Now, let's get this very straight here. In the world of the inorganic world of matter that's eternally undead, it's the kind of raw material that has forever been here and is making up, you could say, the sheer materiality. Well, atop that grows organic forms that live and die, that transpire, that you could say properly are created and then get dissolved back. But the matter of which those living forms, those don't really disappear. I mean, there's a conservation of law, conservation of matter that's going on, but it's life. Life is a kind of ongoing negentropic relationship. And the issue is, how is language and information a kind of non-being? And to say that they're non-being is to say that they're negentropic. It's to say that they are a temporality which opens to more than the sheer change that is at the level of the inorganic. At the level of sheer materiality of the inorganic, you only have change of position, change of temperature. When you move to living systems, and as you move up the phylogenetic scale, by the time you get to humans who have articulated use of language, I mean, we are a hotbed of negativity. Humans are like a core of negentropic energy. We've, you know, if the universe in its sheer physical materiality is going by the way of entropy toward more and more disorder and more, say, heat loss, the human, or the living system development that has been able to use various forms of information, and we could say that there are different kinds of information used throughout the natural world, but humans have accelerated the production of information. And I've tried to say before, information is a kind of negentropy. I think there is room for a discussion that is something like a kind of spirituality, but maybe it's it is a robust science. I don't think it's in any way not grounded in a kind of scientific materiality. It's the reluctance of those people who do seem to be in the sciences to address the real problems of what is information, what is language, what is self-reflexivity, and how is that being who is able to deal in abstract information open to time in certain ways. These have been the concerns that I've been trying to raise. Also, I wanted to maybe just do this, see if I couldn't really quickly. I was really heartened by this one video that I saw. I look at a lot of the Stephen Hawking videos, and I'll post the link to this as well, but here's this little part.
So in a universe where God is rendered unnecessary, how does Professor Hawking feel about his own mortality? Does death scare you?
I'm not afraid of death, but I'm in no hurry to die. I have so much I want to do first.
Okay, right there. I thought that was such a wonderful, wonderful passage. In this interview, not only did this interviewer say the unstated question, which I think is in many people's minds, about how do you feel about your own mortality, but he courageously said, yes, I don't need some belief in a creator or a guy in the sky to have my life have meaning and have purpose. He says, I still have so much I want to do. I think this kind of courage, the willingness to accept our own lives as mortal, to accept ourselves as finite, to have the courage to need little, to recognize ourselves as singing, pantomiming apes who have yearnings for heroic accomplishments, who I think to understand ourselves fully as mortal beings, as creatures of this planet, all of that can be done without, I guess, giving up the mystery of who we are. What is all of this, right? I think it has to do with not wonder over all that we can see and all that we can encounter and everything that we could come in touch with, but it's the wonder over what is that which is wondering. It's the wonder over the looking rather than the looked at. It's why is there the consciousness of the stuff? What is all of the stuff? Now, to say that, well, what you're basically doing is you're caught in a biological riddle that was created from something that has outlasted what had survival value, and now it's a useless luxury that is being perhaps exploited but is a source of delusion. Um, I think, well, that could be a good way to come at it. It wouldn't seem, though, that that is true to all of the things that we can recognize when we start to move toward mathematics and the kind of order that seems to be pervading the cosmos. At any rate, I hope that that was some response to Karen's video, and I do want to say that I think there is a need for people who have religious beliefs that are, yeah, outside of the dogma, outside of the politicized, organized religion, but who do have spiritual beliefs. They need to grow familiar with basic scientific orientations in multiple fields of science. Um, but I would say the same, though, the weakness or the shortcoming in so many people that I see who seem quite well versed in the physical sciences, they don't seem that well versed in issues about psychology, anthropology, sociology, and in particular, issues of information theory and problems of language. The concern over what it means to address meaning as a speaker, not just addressing words as if they were objects on a laboratory desk where you're going to look at them. At any rate, I think there is a room. It's probably going to be a concept that isn't within the confines of either science or religion. We need I don't know, but perhaps a new word for the category of discourse that fits into what we know through humans. I think some people, you look at something like general semantics, Alfred Korzybski, so much of his work in general semantics, his master work on science and sanity, he wanted to see, could there be a way to get what we know about the physical world, what we know in our attempts to both understand the world and to enable it, to create it, can we bring that to bear on what we know about psychology and particularly about the human being? Okay, so thanks.